A closer look. In Southeast Asia, like the countries Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, global warming makes typhoons, floods, and heat waves stronger and more unpredictable. Typhoons mean warmer ocean temperatures give storms more energy, so typhoons hit harder and cause worse flooding. The Philippines often faces massive destruction every year. And as for the rising sea levels, coastal cities like Manila and Jakarta risk being submerged. In Malaysia, areas near the coast experience saltwater intrusion that might damage the crops. Unfortunately, unpredictable rain patterns mean that farmers don't know when to plant or harvest because too much rain can erode crops and too little leads to drought. As a result, reduced food production, loss of income, and even rural poverty. Africa is highly vulnerable because many people depend on agriculture and have limited resources to adapt. Some regions go months or years without rain, crops fail, and livestock die from dehydration. This causes millions face food insecurity and communities compete for shrinking water sources. Families are forced to leave their homes in search of water, food, or jobs. This is called climate refugees. In Europe, heat waves and wildfires are becoming more frequent, even in countries that used to have mild weather. Temperatures in southern and even northern Europe break records every year, leading to death from the heat stroke. The ecosystems are changing as well because heat affects crops and energy systems, which increase the cost of living and threatening food supply, which result to health risks, damaged infrastructure, and rising energy demand. The Arctic is warming 4 times faster than the rest of the world. Ice that has been frozen for centuries is now disappearing, raising sea levels worldwide. Groups like Inuit depend on ice for hunting seals and traveling. As the ice melts, their traditional way of life immediately disappears. And for the already a hot and dry region, the Middle East is facing extreme heat and severe water stress. Some cities now reach 50 degrees or higher. These extreme temperatures threaten human health and strain limited water resources. So these examples show how climate change affects diverse cultures differently and why communication among them is essential for global cooperation. Now, let's evaluate how intercultural communication helps us address these challenges. First of all, bridging global cooperation. At international meetings like the United Nations Climate Change Conferences (COP), representatives from more than 119 countries negotiate climate agreements. Without effective intercultural communication, like respecting the language, culture, and priorities, these negotiations would never fail. When leaders communicate clearly and listen actively, they build trust and reach fair agreements, such as Paris Agreement, which unites countries in limiting global temperature rise. And next is combining modern science and indigenous knowledge. Effective communication also connects scientific innovation with traditional wisdom. As for the example, indigenous communities in Malaysia and Canada share forest conservation methods that help prevent fires. Farmers in India combine ancient irrigation systems with modern weather forecasting. By valuing this cultural perspective, we develop more sustainable, locally adaptable solutions for everyone. And as for the last one, promoting environmental education and awareness. Intercultural communication allows environmental messages to reach diverse audience. When we adapt content using local languages, examples, and media, people understand better and act faster. And for instance, educational campaigns in Africa use radio to reach remote villages, while youth movements in Europe and Asia used TikTok and YouTube to spread this climate awareness. This digital media breaks borders, allowing a student in Malaysia to learn from activists in Kenya or Sweden or even in other countries. That is the real power of communication across cultures. So, let's move on to solutions on how to overcome global warming. Now that we understand the problem, how can we solve it? Here are the 5 global solutions supported by effective intercultural communication and cooperation. First, switch to renewable energy. We must reduce dependence on fossil fuels and invest more in renewable energy like solar, wind, and hydropower. Through international partnerships, countries can share technology and research, making clean energy more affordable. And the next one is protect and restore forests. Forests are our planet's lungs. Global initiatives like the Billion Tree Project bring together nations to replant and preserve forests, combining scientific and indigenous approaches. And the third one is educate for sustainability. Education builds awareness. Intercultural communication ensures that climate education is inclusive and localized, whether it's through online workshops, documentaries, or cultural exchange programs. And as for the fourth one, encourage sustainable lifestyles. Every culture has its own green habits. Well, as for the example, in Japan, motenai means avoiding waste. In Nordic countries, cycling is a daily routine. In Malaysia, communities are promoting zero-waste markets. By sharing these habits digitally, people inspire each other worldwide. And as for the last one, strengthen global youth networks. Young people are the loudest voices for climate justice. Digital platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube allow global youth to organize campaigns, share research, and pressure leaders into action. This effective intercultural communication allows us to understand global warming from multiple perspectives, share knowledge and build trust among nations, combine traditional and scientific wisdom, and even inspire collective action through digital media. Every message we share online can create awareness. Every conversation across cultures can spark change. As the saying goes, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. Instead, we borrow it from our children. So let's return it greener, cleaner, and stronger than before. Together, through communication, respect, and technology, we can save our shared home.